Now, I've casted Bronze League 1 versus 1s, I've casted Silver and Gold League as well, but one thing I have not yet done is cast a Protoss versus Terran in Diamond League. And what I got for you today is a Protoss versus Terran on Belcher Vestige, and both of these players, as you may have already guessed, are indeed in Diamond. Spawning in the bottom right corner with the blue Protoss pieces, we have none other than LowkoTV. I'd like to imagine that he is I don't know, like a poker player by day and a StarCraft 2 player by night. And his opponent spawning all the way on the other end of the map with the red Terran pieces. He is known as Charlie. When the game initially loaded up, he, was asked what nickname he wanted to be playing under. And apparently, well, his friends call him Charlie, so he figured that that would be his in-game nickname as well. And Charlie is indeed gonna go for that quick barracks right here at the top of the ramp. But LowkoTV has indeed decided his strategy. There are no gases up just yet, and he is indeed building himself a forge on the other end of the map. Now, here's the thing. Cannon rushes in Protoss versus Terran, while it does seem like that is exactly what LowkoTV has got in store for us right here, are pretty tricky, because Terran can just simply lift up and get on out of there. And I wonder if, LowkoTV is trying to keep that one in mind as well. And there we go, he's indeed building the pylons in the main base of his opponent. I wasn't too surprised by seeing the first two, but now he's building up to 5 of them, which is a little bit more than you ideally would like to get away with. Indeed, I was gonna say, like, he needs to cancel something, because otherwise that probe is going to be stuck in there. And indeed, the cannon does go down. He's starting to build that right now in his opponent's main base. And then also the gateway follow-up here. So indeed, LowkoTV is trying his very best to be as annoying as you possibly can be. Now, he may actually, oh no, he's trying to attempt a wall-off right here at the top of the ramp as well of the Terran. That means that Charlie's SUVs may very well not be able to get on out of there. I mean, if he gets up that wall, of course, there is that gateway finishing up here as well. He actually ends up canceling that, but with the pylons, finishing up at the top of that ramp and that cannon as well, he's gonna be able to get the wall off. Yeah, there we go. That is actually really, really smart. These SCVs are now stuck in what that command center can indeed lift up and get on out of there. And while the barracks did just finish up, and a second one is now in production as well, I wonder what Charlie is gonna plan. He's actually lifting, or he's actually landing the command center now. And I think he's trying to get, he's actually gonna be loading in the SCVs to try and go for another expansion. Yup. So we're 2 minutes into this game. Main base has already been evacuated right here for the Terran player, and the Protoss is desperately still continuing onwards with all of this harass. Now, I'm not entirely sure if Charlie is going to bring over the other SCVs as well. Of course, that is a very big time commitment, and they can't really leave their bases just yet. At the very least, he's not aware that that gateway once again ended up getting cancelled. But regardless, these SCVs are hanging out in the main right now. They're looking desperate. They're a little bit scared. One is carrying a bucket full of Vespian gas, and some have some mineral patches as well. But Charlie has found himself a safe haven, and he's found a new place to call home. He's starting up some depots here as well. He has got very little mining here though, but of course there is indeed an orbital command coming in, so that means that mules will be able to help him out in that regard. A nexus is being built, and actually the SCVs are trying to make their way out of there. Quick wall-off being constructed. However, LowkoTV not quite getting that just yet. A couple of SCVs will already have to pay for that with their lives. One is burning right here. Another one does indeed end up falling. And Charlie, with some low-key bad manners, says thank you. And he decides to get the SCVs back to work. And right now, the supply counts are reasonably even. That's pretty crazy, actually. I'm not entirely sure what to expect from here on out. Okay, so LowkoTV is indeed following this up with 2 Nexuses on his opponent side of the map. Or actually, would it be Nexi? I guess the plural of Nexus would be Nexi, but regardless, LowkoTV responding here as well, saying you needed it, as he did indeed allow his opponent's SCVs to get on out of there. He could have won the game straight up if that was going to be key. Apparently, he's not getting himself his normal natural expansion, but knowing that he now built all of the cannons on the other end of the map, right? I mean, I guess this expansion right here is a little bit safer. Making all of the tricks in the Protoss book work just fine so far, but it looks like Charlie has got himself at least some reasonable economy. I don't think he's aware. No, he doesn't know about his opponent taking his, his old main base, and that is also his natural expansion. And it looks like, indeed, LowkoTV is just simply continuing onwards right here by building up a bunch of cannons. And here's the thing, though. That Protoss main base, indeed, is going to be very, very vulnerable. This is where the chunk of the economy from the Protoss really is. And while there is a single photon cannon up right now, there will be a ton of production here, in particular once these double barracks finish up here as well. A couple of SCVs, or a single SCV rather, and a Marine hanging out right here at the palm tree. We don't really know what those guys are doing over here. I'll just give them some privacy, I suppose. But regardless, Charlie is desperately trying to get himself more and more production out. And I wonder though, I really would like to see him move across the map. I mean, he doesn't know about his opponent's bases in his old, like, expansions, I suppose. So he must be assuming here that his opponent is indeed taking his natural expo right now. And I think with the amount of production that Charlie has, he's going to be able to get a lot. He's getting Stimpack, he's getting Combat Shield as well. So that does mean that indeed he will have some really powerful units here in just a minute or two from these upgrades. In particular, once they are finished up. Now, there is indeed a reactor going down here as well. No factories or anything just yet. But with that mothership core here on production, LowkoTV will, of course, get himself some photon overcharges as well. And while indeed he did get himself a cybernetics core in the main base, it looks like his main may very well be under threat. A couple of Marines and Marauders are indeed making their way across. There will be a hard found to see that there indeed is no natural expo there. Does the Protoss actually know about the Terran though? No, he actually has no clue that the Terran has built an expansion right there as well. And this indeed is starting to be a little bit of a crazy match. I mean, the fact of the matter that LowkoTV is actually mining from his opponent's old main and then his natural as well already should be information enough that this game did not turn out the way that the Terran had it planned. Now, Charlie did indeed make his way across the map. He hasn't found himself a Protoss expansion here just yet, so maybe he's actually pretty happy about this, but lo and behold, there is a lot of mining going on the other end of the map, and more gateways are being added on right now as well by LowkoTV. However, this is exactly what I was hoping that the Terran player would do in this situation. He's going to be able to take out that single cannon very easily. While it did kill one of the Marines, the other one that was being hit is still alive. And the probes are trying to get out of there. Don't let him leave, Terran! Don't let him leave! Get him! There you go! He is indeed gonna... Oh, LowkoTV is already calling the GG. He's been a trickster, though, this entire game. And while he didn't need to lose a lot of his economy, as far as the amount of workers that he's got left over goes, there are still like 23 for him versus 29. So while he indeed is going to end up losing his main nexus, yeah, he's been a trickster all this time. I was going to say he's not leaving the game just yet. That wouldn't make any sense. I mean, he's still got 2 mining expansions on the other end of the map, and these are very well turtled in. Now, of course, the Terran still has no clue about this. He's been looking around the map for a little while to try and find the opposing expansions here as well. There are 2 more depots just about to finish up, so that supply block will be taken care of here very shortly. But I wonder, are there enough units now for the Terran to try and deal with this? I mean, you got to keep in mind, the longer this goes on, the more and more the Protoss will indeed get ahead, because more and more probes are joining the battlefield. It's currently 69 supply versus 43. But of course, these cannons don't count for any supply, and they're going to be able to deal a lot. And of course, photon overcharge can also hurt a ton. Now, I wonder if Charlie has figured this out just yet. He knows that there are a bunch of buildings on his side of the map, so I'm going to make the assumption that while he is indeed expanding here to the southern part of the map as well, he is indeed going to stim in and get on in there. Photon overcharges, however, being taken care of immediately. They're going to shoot away a lot of those units. A couple of these adepts doing damage as well. We do indeed see the warp in now as well, now that the warp gate upgrade is done. Mothership core does get target fire down, but those photon overcharges still doing so much work though. Those cannons also lifting a crazy amount of weight, and look at that. The Terran army is dwindling here. While he was very significantly ahead just a minute ago, all of a sudden, well, while there is one hero Marauder still trying to take on all of these adepts, all of a sudden, LowkoTV is indeed in a bit of an interesting scenario, because I think that for basically the very first time in this game, I'm gonna have to give him the advantage. What a crazy match. Now, it looks like we've got a little bit of downtime. What I wanted to mention at the beginning of the game, while we do indeed see 2 engineering bases go down, is that you can now go ahead and submit your own crazy matches to replays at LowkoTV. Now, Motlisis has been going through them, and he actually appropriately named this one WTF Protoss versus Terran. I see exactly what he means. I see exactly what I mean. Or what he means, rather. I don't think this is a very standard Protoss versus Terran whatsoever, but Charlie, he's got himself another expansion here. He's getting himself another orbital command, and it looks like he's just simply gonna continue onwards with the aggression. Now, you gotta keep in mind, bio units skill so extremely well with upgrades. While there is indeed a photon overcharge once again going down with that newly acquired mothership core, The Terran seems to sort of be like containing the Protoss player here. I'm not entirely sure how that worked because this is his old main base, but regardless, Charlie is preventing his opponent right now from moving out. There is indeed apparently a Guardian Shield going down as well. Once again, Stimpack going up, but I'm not entirely sure if those are the force fields that you're looking for. I mean, ideally, you're trying to cut off a part of that Terran army so you can easily pick it off, but instead, the Terran player is gonna be left behind those force fields, and the Terran units can shoot over it just fine. Now, we do see a very big overextension, however, by Charlie. I wonder if this is going to be payoff. Another stim going down, and all of these Terran units are running so damn low. There's no force fields available anymore, but with these warpins at the top of the ramp, the units will indeed be slowed down, and look at that. The excessive, oh my god, the excessive stim packs there, bringing all of these Terran units down to such low amounts of HP, and it all of a sudden forces the Protoss to kill all of those units. And while there are still a couple of them desperately trying to deal damage to this Protoss force, for once, Bovada Poker has managed to break out of his opponent's natural. I don't think I've ever used those kind of words before, and he's actually trying to get on the move. Like, this is actually starting to be a little bit crazy now. I mean, look at this. If it wasn't already crazy enough, for the first time, Bovada Poker will be able to start taking care of his opponent's units. And indeed, the SCVs are being brought off the line. Once again, the Mothership Core does get target fired down by the few Marines that are left over. But these Adepts, of course, while they do regenerate shields, they're also starting to run a little bit lower than the Terran player was ideally looking for. Double upgrades, nowhere near close to finishing up just yet. But a lot of production here from the Terran player will allow him to eventually, at the very least, clean up some of these units. A couple of the Adepts desperately tried making their way into his opponent's mineral line, and while this expansion is running low anyway, I would really like to see Charlie maybe go for even another expansion. I mean, he's been expanding towards the southern end of the map anyway. I guess he can potentially try and take another one, because that old, I guess, I don't know, is this the old new base or the main new base, or I'm not entirely sure what to call this one. Regardless, this base is starting to run pretty low, and in just a minute or two, it will indeed start running out of resources. Bovada Poker, on the other end, he's been desperately building up army. He's getting himself another Guardian Shield. He's really been wasting the energy on those sentries here for a while, but he's actually holding on. I'm actually quite impressed by that move. I mean, while the early game was a little bit crazy, he's sort of setting him up for a reasonably standard game right here. Of course, he does have that shade ability on those Adepts, so these Adepts are indeed trying to make their way across the map. He has not found out about his opponent's newly acquired command center just yet, and actually, with all of these units out on the map, that leaves his base at home awfully vulnerable. There is indeed that upgrade finishing up just now, so that does mean that he's gonna go for the Dark Templar follow-up. I love it. That's actually a really sick follow-up. But regardless, with that +1 attack upgrade finishing up, these SCVs are gonna be in a lot of trouble, and somehow Bovada Poker sniffing out that this expansion would be out. I mean, it's the most obvious one to be taken, and a lot of these SCVs will have to pay for this with their lives. The Terran army not quite responding just yet. It looks like he's just simply forcing a lift up on that command center while getting on out of there once again. And look at that, all of these units are making their way across the map at the same time. The Terran player is going for a bit of a base race kind of scenario, and of course, Terran can still lift up their buildings, whereas the Protoss cannot. While the Adepts are indeed killing a lot of the economy, if there are no buildings left over here for the Protoss, this is starting to be a little bit tricky. The natural expansion, or his own natural expansion rather, does indeed end up falling, and the Adepts are on move command! The Adepts are on move command, they were not attack moving whatsoever, and with all of these Terran units, I am thinking here that Terran just cleaned it up. What was that? How did that even just happen? All of these Terran units are indeed, or all of these Terran buildings rather, are indeed floating. And while there is still a chance that this Dark Shrine can shield away these units, there is enough energy available right now on all of these command centers, the third one being constructed now as well, for a couple of scans. And indeed, he does start target firing down that dank shrine. And all of a sudden, Charlie ends up obtaining the victory. From watching that early game, right, I didn't think he would be able to do that. But when he initially moved across the map, when he saw that his opponent, you know, had most of the probes in his old main base, I suppose, and he ended up killing all of that, it shut down so much of the Protoss economy. And while he did overextend for a little while, actually in 2 occasions, I mean, he kept on stimming his units that second time, and then the first time he fought right inside of that photon overcharge range. Charlie ended up obtaining the victory here in a, I would say, less than standard game. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this game. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. And while you're at it, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Links are in the description of the video. And other than that, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I'll see you in the next one.